Hello, everybody. This video is just showing you how to navigate Zentracloud.com on a desktop, a laptop, whatever you've got. It's a little bit different than the app, and there's a few more things you can look at, a few more things you can do on Zentracloud.com on a web browser. And so I just wanted to show you what you can do and how to navigate the website. So when you log in, just log in with that login that you made and that you used for the app. If you have multiple fields that are enrolled in AgDrip, you'll be able to select them up here on this dark blue or black bar up top by organization. So if you have multiple sets of sensors, and they're each set up in different fields, we'll probably have them set up as different organizations. And then you can select them here. So you'll be able to just click on the drop down arrow and select which field you want. But most people have just one field enrolled right now, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. It should just automatically put you in your organization. So on the left here, there's this blue navigation bar, and if you see, I'm hovering over it, and sometimes that navigation bar kind of extends out. If you want that to just stay that way, you can just hit this top arrow, and then it just shows you what's available within each section. Or it just spits out this information, like what sensor information you have. And so right now, this is just showing this is an AgDrip participant, and this is his location. Essentially, you can name it something else, but then this is his logger, right? That's the logger ID for the soil moisture sensors. And then this is the weather station. And then this is one that no longer is working at the moment. So if you ever wanted to add, if you needed to add sensors or weather or loggers, I should say, or weather stations, you would come here and hit add new, and you can either create a new site, a new plot, or the device is where you would add a weather station or a logger. So that's what that is for. So this grid of squares it takes you to another page on the website where you can create customized charts, and those are the charts that will show up, or the graphs that will show up on your app. And I will do a completely separate video on this because it will take a bit of time. And then this icon is an icon of a matrix potential sensor. So think of it as this is all your info for all your sensors right here, right? So device configuration, that's if you need to adjust anything, right? If you need to check anything here, it's kind of just like the backend stuff. You'll see the ID is here as well as in the device name. So if you ever have troubleshooting issues and you need to know that, you can check it here or here if it's labeled there. If you ever have to update your firmware and you're not sure what firmware version you have, you can come to your device configuration and check here. These are just things that we use to set up the logger and set and show, okay, this sensor's at 18 inches for port 3, right? If you ever have to edit that, you would just come here and edit it, and you'd be able to go in and change anything you needed to there. Communication settings just shows that you can say, I want it to upload data every hour. If you say you didn't want it to upload data between like midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning for some reason, you could just hit edit and then adjust those. It will still collect data during those. It just won't send it to the cloud at those times. But I just always have it set to log data every hour. Okay, the GPS location. This can be really handy if you are not sure where your logger is, right? If you are unsure, if you've forgotten where exactly in the field it is and you can't find it, maybe your alfalfa's grown over it, your corn's over it, right? You can't see it anymore. This is a great spot to see, okay, this gives you the coordinates, and there will be some error. It won't be like perfectly exact, but on the location. but that will get you pretty much honed in on where it's at. So if you ever need to find it, these are the coordinates for you. Device logs, that is something that you really will only look into if you're doing troubleshooting and meter group is talking through certain things in here with you, which usually they don't. So you won't have to worry about that for the most part. So then if you go back to this navigation bar on the left and go to map, it will just show you kind of where your sensors are kind of roundabout, and then also show you a snapshot of your data, which is kind of nice, but not necessarily, tons of information, but that's sometimes what it defaults to when you log in. List, if you go to list from that navigation bar, it will basically show you the exact same thing that it shows you on your app on your phone. So basically just a snapshot of data, what the data was, what the sensors were reading when it pulled data to the cloud, right? So that's what list is. Detail is where it will show you trends or graphs of your water content, your matrix potential, your soil temperature for that matrix potential sensor, right? And then your battery and voltage and whatnot. But you can, up here in the top right corner, you can adjust your time frame. So say you wanted to look at the last month of data, you just select whatever you want here and it will pull that data into a graph and show you that. And again, just like on your app, you can kind of hover over this and see the trends. And I think, oops, yep, you can select a certain area and you can see close-ups of the trends. And then to undo that, you would just hit this undo button. So, and then if you want to look at, so right now this is just showing our data for our soil moisture data. If you want to look at graphs for your weather station data that are just default graphs that Zentracloud makes that are not part of the customized charts, you just would click on this weather station here, icon or weather station label here, and then it's going to show you data for everything that it reads on that weather station, right? So, and again, if you want to look at something, in particular with a certain rain event, you can click on that, drag it down, and then you'll see kind of a more detailed version of that particular rain event, and it will kind of show you some totals that it collected. So, and then inventory, you won't need to worry about inventory. Users, once all of this becomes yours after the 5-year period, this is nice if you ever have anybody who's working on your farm with you and you need them to see the data too, but you want them to kind of have their own login, right? You can go to invite user and invite them to your organization, and they'll have access to the data too. So that's handy. This icon with the cloud and the down arrow, that's your downloads. So we definitely suggest once we've pulled this out from USU and it's all yours, it's always good to download your data maybe at the end of the irrigation season, right? Just to make sure you have it as backup. If you ever need it or ever want it for anything, you can download it as a CSV file or an Excel file, and you can select which loggers or weather stations you want to download data for, and you can adjust the time frame here, and then you'll just hit request data and it will download for you. And then notifications. This is if you set notifications and you want to know when my battery's low, or if you have max and mins that you've made, I think for your customized charts up here, you'll see that in here. And I think if you set notifications, it will email you, it might ping your app, right? But right now I don't have no notifications set for this. This gear on the left hand towards the bottom is super important when you very first log in and get started with AgDrip and get your sensors installed. You're going to want to come in here and adjust your units for the sensors and the weather station data. Everything comes defaulted as metric, which we obviously don't really use that here. So if you click on measurement units, which there we go. It'll come up with all the different measurements that it collects or can collect. And you can just adjust it to whatever you want it to be. I typically have water content as either a percentage or inches per foot, but that's honestly your preference. Everything's your preference. I typically do kilopascals for matrix potential and so forth, you know, just see what you want it to be. And adjust it, and then just make sure you hit accept here at the bottom, and it will convert everything over for you, so you don't have to be trying to convert precip from centimeters to inches, right? And it will do this where it reloads the whole page, and sometimes it takes a minute. API, I don't use that. That is a coding thing. You don't have to worry about that. The question mark here at the bottom is if you need to send feedback, if you need want to look into something, you can click that help center, and what it does is it pulls up this page. Well, actually it pulls up this page. And then you can kind of click on some things and, you know, try and find whatever you need. Also, their customer support can be helpful. Sometimes there's you know, it can be helpful, and sometimes it's a little slow, so you have to be patient with them, but you get the right people and they really do help you out. So if you have any issues, don't be afraid to call them once this becomes yours for good. So that is something to note, but that's kind of the navigation bar. That's what all of these icons do for you. We will go into these customized charts here soon and show you how to create them, show you how you can create notifications with max and min values and whatnot, and it can be super helpful. But that's just a rundown of how to work through the website. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.